everybody! CW here. I got a new set of dies. These ones here for the 458 SOCOM. Let's take a look at what I got. Stand by. Okay. It's a 4-die set, and it's pretty inclusive. But I'm not thrilled right off the bat, and I'll show you why in a second. But let's look at each die really quick here. 458 SOCOM is brand new loading to me. I've never loaded for it before. But I picked up some cases, and it really intrigues me, so we're going to fiddle around with it a little bit. These are brand new dies, and I took them out of the box, cleaned them up. I just cleaned up the expander die, and loaded up a case, lubed up a case, put it inside, and guess what happened? Ba-bang! The very first case. I know it was lubed good. I know it wasn't anything I did. The very first case stuck. I didn't do a video. You know how to pull cases. Basically, you take your stem out. This particular one has no expander ball, so I got plenty of room. Put it in the vise, drilled it out, tapped it 1/4-20, put the cap over it, screwed the bolt in, popped the case out. Pretty eventful, no big deal. Ruined a case. That's like $1. Wasted $1 for no reason. I know it was lubed good. So what I did was I took the die apart again and I scrubbed it. I really scrubbed it. I even went inside with JB Bore paste on the drill and gave it a polish. I think it was just a little bit rough. I think there was this coating, I think left it rough inside. I got it really clean now. Really clean, but it didn't take the black off. So that's what I mean when I'm not so thrilled about it. First off the cuff, it doesn't really have a good showing, but there we go, we'll see. So that's your expander, and it comes with an M die, which I do like. The M die is the expander for seating your bullets. This is going to open the diameter up, and it's going to just flare it just a little bit. It's not going to produce a trombone. It's going to give you a nice thing just to set the bullet down in. The bullet was going to set down in the neck of that case nice and square and straight and give you some really good results. So really, really like the M die. Really nice addition here. Be included with it as your expander die is really nice. Then we got the cedar die. Now I don't know if this has a crimp in it or not. It doesn't say. It just says 458 SOCOM cedar with a number. And it does have a cone for a pointy bullet. But we'll see. It's kind of sharp in here. I got a feeling I'm going to be polishing this as well, because I think it's going to cut the bullet. It's really sharp. But we'll see. We'll try it first. Again, these are all nice and shiny because I cleaned them and sprayed them with Ezox. And then the last die in the box is a tapered crimp. Lyman 458 SOCOM TPR CR, which is tapered crimp. Bullet doesn't come all the way through. And the last, not a die, but it comes with a checker, which is a pretty nice thing. I don't believe it's a really good one. It's probably just going to be like a function test. It's not as good as a Wilson gauge or anything. It's just a checker. It's not a gauge. So it's just gonna make sure you're not grossly out of your dimensions. I don't believe it's going to give you an overall length because that looks too long. So it's just checking, like dropping in your chamber. You know, you pull your barrel off and you drop your bullets in to make sure they're going to chamber. That's all this is going to do for you. It's not a gauge. And then it also comes with a shell holder, appropriate for the caliber, and of course your Allen key or Allen wrench to adjust your dies. So let's get it up in the press and size a couple cases. All right, get the die put back together, adjust it so your stem just comes out enough to kick the case out. when it's up in the die. You don't need it too awful far. You don't want that bottom crashing in the bottom of the inside of your case. So maybe just a whisker farther than that would be about right, but that's going to work for us. Set it up so you get just a bit of touch to start out. We don't have anything to go by for shoulder bump here, so we're just going to set it up so that we get the dedicated shell holder to hit the bottom of the die and just give a little bit, just a touch of cam over. Good and square and secure in there, and there we go. All right, let's get some cases lubed up and size a couple. All right, this is how I like to do it. I'm going to use Unique Case Lube. Works really good. The Lee stuff in the tube works really good, and Imperial Die Wax. They're what I prefer. I prefer to do it this way. You just touch it with your finger and put it on the case. I like to put it right on like that. And these I'm putting a little on the neck. Usually you want to avoid putting it on the shoulder because you don't want to dimple anything. But this, I want to give it a little bit extra because of the problems that we just had with sticking that in there. So let's give this a feel. Wow. That's wicked, wicked tight. And this must have a really fat chamber. Whatever these cases were fired in must have been a really wicked fat chamber, because look at the tension on that case neck. This came out of a really, really fat chamber. So we're not going to jam it up in there without lots of lube on here. All right, that one went up in. Yeah, that is tight. Look at that case. That's not a very polished die body. That's kind of ugly. Kind of ugly. I don't like that very much. I'm used to my Reading dies that have a better polish on them. That leaves a little bit to be desired for Lyman, let me tell you. For a premium die body, die set. That's not great. These are brand new. I'm sorry, these are once fired, but they're cleaned, polished cases. So there's no debris on these things. These have been washed and tumbled. So there's really no reason for that to be the case. I got a goodly amount of lube on there. That's a well lubed case. Wow. There's no way you can feel that, but I mean, look at the marks on that case. You see it? Granted, it's sizing a lot, but wow. Not a big fan of these dies. And just look at the ugly on that brass. Focus. Let me see if I can zoom in even more. See that? I don't like it. It's going to work, but I don't like it. All right, let me go through these. Oh, Ellie came down here to visit. Hello, Ellie girl. Hello, Ellie girl. Here's Ellie. Ellie came down to visit. All right, let me go through these. Come back when I get them done. I'm not kidding you that these are tumbled. See the piece of media in the flash hole? So these are nice clean cases. I shouldn't be doing this. About halfway done. Stand by. All right, we've got them all sized. And here's where the checker comes out, and you can see flush across the top. So they're sized nice, and they drop right in like they will in your chamber. But remember, it's just a checker. It's not a case gauge. So it's only going to show you that it should go into your chamber without a problem. Okay, so now let's set up the expander die, the M die, move it over to the press. I don't really want you to get the lights, but I need to do this in such a way that, I can't do it. Now it's going to hit the, let me move you down around a little bit. All right. Screw the die in until it touches the shell holder. You don't really need a cam over at this point, but until it touches the shell holder. And then back out the stem at the top. And then slowly work it down. Put your case in and run it up in there. Take it out, check it. What you want is you want the brass, the bullet rather, to sit right in the brass just as nice as can be. And that's what I'm going to show you here now. Here's your bullet. And it'll sit right in there just as nice as can be. Won't go down very far. It's just going to sit in there just like that. But, see how nice and square it is? That's the beauty of the M die. It flares it up just down a tiny little bit so that your bullet just sits right in there, just so nice. And it's nice and square. So when you seat your bullet, it seats in nice and square. It gives it a really nice initial start. All right, that's just how you set it up. Just as simple as that. Just keep adjusting it down, 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 down until you get it. And then when you get it all locked, get it all done, you just set the lock screw up at the top there, and you're done. Run all your cases through. Stand by, I'll do it. All right, what I failed to mention to you is your overall case length. You want to make sure your cases are trimmed. Again, this is what you're going to get with the M die. No excessive flare. Just enough for that bullet to drop in there and be straight. Just enough for proper bullet seating. It's in there good. I mean, it's fit for jacketed bullets to just drop in. No excessive flare. You're not overworking your brass. Just enough to let that bullet sit in there so it starts out nice and straight. I really like the M die a lot. That's what it does for you. Let's move on to the next step. Actually, we're going to skip the next step because I can't show you everything. We're going to skip the next step and we're going to move on to bullet seating. I just get out the cedar die and the threads are excessively rough. I can't really see it, but I can feel it. It's bad. That first die, that first thread rather, if I ran a piece of cotton over that, it would grab it like crazy. So I'm going to hit this on the wire wheel. I got a really light wire wheel. It might take some of the finish off, but I don't want to run that in my press. I'm going to clean that up. So I'll be right back. Now it's nice. Again, not overly impressed for what these cost and what they're supposed to be. Lyman MSR die set. Doesn't really impress me much. This is the first Lymans I've bought in many years, and I know why I stay with my Reddings. All right, stand by. I'm going to set this one up. Okay, setting this die up. I put an empty case in there. Raised the ram all the way up. Screwed the die down until it touched. Backed it off just a touch. Set the lock ring. That should be right where this die wants to crimp, if this die crimps. Then I put the stem in just a couple of turns. I primed and charged the case, which I didn't show you, and now I'm seating a bullet. Don't know where we need to be as far as how deep. I do know that our measurement is 2240, 2.240 for overall length. So let's get that here, 2.240. We're not there yet. Looks like it's going to be right about on the cantilever, which is kind of surprising. Let's see what we get here. All right, we're still shy of the cantilever. Yep, we're almost up to the lead tip. And I can see that it's already cutting into the bullet, just like I figured it would when I said that it was kind of sharp. And with cast bullets, I'm not going to like it. It's putting a ring around the jacket. Wow, quite coincidence. We're almost there with just what I did eyeballing this. Almost there. And this lock ring down so things don't move on us. And that should do it. Not quite. What do we got? What is it coming up to? 2.418. Probably fine, but the manual says 2240, so. All right, we're going to call that close enough. We're 3 thousandths long. We're going to call that close enough. And then let's get our, I seem to have lost my small adjustable wrench. I keep a small one and a large one. We'll just tighten that down. Set that. And there we go. I'm just going to run through and seat all these bullets, and I'll come back. Okay, all seated. Now we're going to do the crimp die. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of our cases fully loaded, ready to go. We'll back the die ring off, drop it on top of a case, a loaded round, screw it down until it touches, and what it's touching is where it's starting to crimp. So we're going to back this off, turn this in a quarter of a turn or so. All right, we didn't get much. All right, this is a little different style crimp. It's not just taper crimping. All right, that's feeling pretty good. It's feeling pretty good. Let's give it just a little bit more, and let's bring this lock ring down. Let's try our case checker, and I'm going to show you this bullet because I'm not happy with this seat and stem, and we'll fix that too. All right, here's our checker. Goes right in, no problem. All right, now like I said, it doesn't check overall length because obviously it's, you know, way longer than your case. But here is our crimp that we're doing. You see that ring? That's what the crimp is doing. Because it's taper, it's just affecting the whole end of the case. And here's what our seating stem. See the ring cut in the brass there? In the copper? So that's going to really mangle up a lead bullet. So I'm going to fix that. This is a 500 grain Hornady. Here's the end of the box. 500 grain soft point. It's a subsonic load. Okay. So let's back you back out here. Let's get our Allen wrench. Now we didn't lock this in, we just did it by hand. So we're just going to turn this out. Now we're going to set our lock ring. Run this back in. Put our wrench on it. Just give it a little bit of a snug. Sorry for bumping you guys. Put a bullet in there, run it up in. That feels pretty good. There we go. There's a finished 458 SOCOM subsonic round. I'm going to run through and do all these. I'll put you in speedy mode. And here's the last one. I like to rotate them 180 and give them a second on these taper crimps. Okay. So there we go. What do you know about the 458 SOCOM? It's a pretty neat cartridge. It's 25 years old. Came out about 2000. I invented about 2000. And it was made to offer some serious power in the AR-15 size firearm. It's a rebated rim case. So the rim is smaller than the body. The rim is the same as the 308-3006, so it's a 473 diameter case head, which is big for the AR, but small enough that it can function and work. And then the body is bigger. It gives performance from, they say 250, 260 grains up to 600, but most 458 bullets start at about 300. So 300 grain bullet is about 1900-ish feet per second. So it's about on par with my 450 Bushmaster. The difference is this is twisted so that it really does well with really heavy bullets, 500, 600 grains, and subsonics. That's where this shines. Otherwise, the 450 Bushmaster probably has a little bit on it for sauce, but that's only on paper. Really, they're virtual identicals. The 500 Beowulf is another one that's in this category, but it actually doesn't have, it's got good energy, but it doesn't have quite the velocity for the same weight bullets that this or the 450 Bushmaster does. Plus it's got a seriously rebated rim. That one goes all the way down to 223, and it makes it work in the AR bolt because it gives it a lot more strength. As you get bigger and bigger in the bolts, in the ARs, that's where your weak point is. But this is a really good one. I'm interested in this for a bolt action, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't have anything yet, but I picked up the dies and I wanted to try them out, and I wanted to try MSR dies anyway, and I'm glad I did. Although I'm not happy with them. I don't think they're worth the money. I got a little bit spoiled with the Reddings, and yeah, they're more money, but they're also really good, really good dies. They're smooth. You don't see any of this crap that we're seeing here. None of these problems we had. None of the burrs. You don't find any of that with Reddings. And I used to think you didn't find it with Lymans. I had a really high regard for Lymans because I've had them since forever. Some of my first die sets were the All-Americans in the paper black box. And wow, I'm a little bit disappointed in Lyman. And they're right here local to me. The headquarters of the company is 10 miles away. So there we go. 458 SOCOM. Came around about 2000 or so. Really nice performance. Really good subsonic round. A lot of fun. Big thumper. Short range. Lots of energy. All right. God bless everybody. CW out.